What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Gale's cutscene from Scream 6 and talk about if it matters all that much. So this is something I had seen back when it had first come out. I try to keep up with anything Scream related, even if I don't make a video, in the moment. Saw kind of like the second wave, right? Because it was originally in an interview right when the movie kind of dropped, talking about this deleted scene, which we'll talk about, and then kind of went away. Then the community got a hold of it, right? People made videos, people started talking, and it became a really big deal that, this wasn't in the film. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm going to tell you how I feel about it, and we can kind of go back and forth in the comments and so on. So let's talk about this deleted scene first. And when I say deleted scene, well, I don't think it actually is, because, the movie's out digitally. I don't think it's literally a deleted scene. But the scene sounds like it was going to be Gale giving a monologue. In fact, that's what this quote is. Gale giving a monologue from her hospital bed, and this was going to be at the end of the film. And then they had talked about how that would take away from the Carpenter sisters. They didn't want to do that, and they made the quote or line of putting a hat on a hat. I've never heard of that that terminology before ever, but maybe it's something new. Now, okay, well, there it is. So Gale was going to have some sort of monologue showing her recovering from a hospital bed at the end of the movie. And considering they say that it would take away from the Carpenter sisters, what you would imagine is Gale gets attacked, right? So that happens, subway, all that jazz. And then you have the third act, the final part of the film. Everybody dies, the ghost faces are eliminated, and then instead of, or in addition to, Sam and Tara, there, what I would actually imagine maybe is kind of like a back and forth kind of cut. So like Sam and Tara are talking to Kirby, they're walking around, and maybe you hear Courtney Cox does like voiceover, right? You hear that in the background, and maybe it jumps back and forth. Maybe Gale's like reading a script. Maybe it's something she's gonna deliver on the news or something when she's healed. And so it goes back and forth, maybe between her and then the Carpenter sisters, or even just showing, Sam and Tara, and then you hear Gale, in the backdrop. She's the one kind of narrating it. I think that would have been cool. And now, again, this interview dropped, and it didn't make that big of a wave, and then people kind of got a hold of it, and then it did make a big wave. I think people are upset by it. Now, we had just, in the last video, talked about how insane Scream fandom, Twitter and all that stuff is. So I don't know how you guys feel. You can definitely let me know in the comments. Where I stand is maybe what you would expect of somebody like me, or me myself, is I think I would have liked to see it. Any of these kind of cool concepts, it is a cool concept, I think. I would like to see it play out, but I don't know if it would be better. So I actually really love the ending. I think it says goodbye, potentially short-term or long-term, to Kirby. I think it does a great job. Her telling, hey, basically just a free call to the casting directors and stuff, where it's like, hey, if you have my number now, and if you want me to appear in Scream 7, 8, 9, you just call me and I'll be back. But, the family, the whole theme of this movie is literally this found family, and then you have Kirby telling them, like, hey, we're all in this together, so, if you ever need me, you just call me. So you have that. Now, I don't know if that gets replaced by Gale, right? We literally do not know, but I like that scene. And then, specifically, I think ending it on not confusion, but a very intriguing scene of Sam took the mask and the way she looks at it. Also, we've never really talked about this aspect of it. Did she know she stole it? Did she remember? Because, she's kind of in this hallucination trance-like thing. She may not have even known that she took it out in the first place. It was calling to her, right? So she took it, she looks at it, and Tara, snaps her out of it yet again, and they walk out. And you have Still Alive by Demi Lovato, playing in the background. I think that's a really, really good conclusion. Now, for Gale, is it a great conclusion? Not really. I think that's maybe where the debate comes in. So I was thinking about this before. I don't do much planning for a lot of my videos, but I did think about this for this one. I want to try to describe it, and hopefully I get my messaging through. For Gale, I think by having when she enters the movie and when she exits, she definitely feels like a side character, like this add-on to the main group. She wholly feels like that. I think that's the goal. I think you have every right to not like that or like it. Okay, so hopefully everybody's with me, right? She enters, she's a complementary piece to everybody else. And when she almost dies, that's it. So, you cut there, and you never see her again. Now, I don't think that hurts the idea of like, well, did she die? Because obviously she didn't die there, right? So she gets taken to the hospital, she lives, and then she continues on her life. Like that's the story. By not seeing her and by having her end like that, I think it puts the nail in the coffin of she is a side piece to this film. She's not a core. Again, you don't have to like that. I think Kirby actually is different because Kirby has a beginning, her entrance, middle, and end. In fact, she's part of the final act. She kills Ethan. She's the one, right? And she gets to say goodbye, something that Gale really doesn't do, right? So Kirby has that entire arc. Kirby is more important and a bigger, you could say, this is debatable, but I would say from like a movie standpoint, she's a bigger part, she's more part of it than Gale is. Yes, Gale has the huge, sequence, attack, and Kirby doesn't, but Kirby has the entire third act, I suppose, right? It's not a comparison, between them, but it's simply saying, here's how they do it with one group of character. It's actually really just Gale, right? She's part of that group of Sydney, Dewey, and Gale, and Dewey's not there. Nev didn't come, so you only have Gale. And then Kirby, I think they did a pretty good job of inserting her into the main group. So I think she's more part of the main group than she is part of the legacy. So I'm not trying to like pit them against each other, but it is talking about how they handle one group versus another group, even though there's just one person in each. So I don't mind it, but I understand that like that's what it makes her be. Okay, so I think maybe, and I don't know this, like the people that don't like it, is it because Gale kind of gets thrown aside? Because ultimately, I do think that's what it does, right? By removing that scene. See, I think if you have Gale kind of come in at the end and you have her deliver a monologue and she's talking over the ending, even if we don't see her, or I think we would, because you would know she's in the hospital, right? So if you see her, if you don't see her, and she's narrating over the Sam and Tara stuff, I do actually agree that, well, number one, it takes away from them because now you're focusing on her. And I think the main drive of that ending, again, is that family dynamic, Mindy coming in, Chad's alive, right? So, like, you again are focusing on those four, and then who do you have? You have Sam and Tara, and then Danny as well, right? Next to Sam. You have them kind of walking away, but also centering on, oh, Sam had the mask. So I can understand that, like, that's the point. That's why they wanted that as the ending. If you add if you change it or if you add something to it, well, that's exactly what you're doing. You're changing it, right? It's not going to be exactly the same. So I don't hate it. I know some people, the idea that maybe it fails Gale or, whatever. I think that is partially true, if not fully true. I think, again, Gale as a character, it just solidifies it's almost a cameo because you pop in and then you pop out and you don't like come back sprinkled out throughout. Like she's in it. I guess she does kind of pop in when she first goes with Sam and Tara, and then when she walks up on them after Annika dies, right? So you have her popping in, and then she has her chase. I would also throw in there, though, and we talked about this before when we talked about Gale's, kind of character in this. I love what they did with her and Sam, right? Kind of making her like a mother-like thing. The people that don't have people have to stick together with other people that don't have people. Like, I like that a lot. As I said in that video, I think she did a really good job. I think her character is very strong in the scenes that she's in. Obviously, we've talked about the whole writing the book when you said you wouldn't write the book, and this deleted scene. I don't know how much more this deleted scene would do for her character. I think we all know she lives, she makes it. I don't know how much a little monologue at the end really enhances anything other than to kind of, it's not like dangling the keys, right? Like there's some movies that like bring in the old group, they dangle the keys, they kill them off just to like have like the new group. I believe Star Wars would be a good example of this, and many, many others. It's not that. Scream never did that, I think, with 5 or 6, but it would be like, oh, remember her? She's really, she's a legacy character. She's really cool. Let's focus on her, even though the entire movie is trying to make you care about this new group, right? I feel like this is kind of those like learning pains, like the, just kind of pains of growing into when you're losing or leaving this older group and then you're bringing in a newer group. You're going to have things, I think, like this happen, right? I mean, this is one example, but like this is just kind of part of it where, yeah, probably in 4 or 3 or, whatever, that would happen. In fact, in 4, the deleted scene, even with her in the hospital, Sydney in the hospital, like, they had that, and obviously it was cut out. But I think this is something that maybe would have made it into that era, but we're in a different era now. So I don't think it's too big of a deal, but again, that's just my opinion. And also, as I said, I would like to see it. I mean, I like to see all these things in these multiverse kind of things. You know, like the Stu idea, the entire plot of Scream 3, and then having it changed, last minute. I'd love, I mean, send me to the universe, the multiverse that happens in. Like, that would be incredible just to see it. I don't need it to replace what we got. I don't know if it would be better than what we got. But, like, yeah, of course I'm interested in what that would have been like. So, yeah, I would have liked to have seen the script of what this monologue would have been. How cool would it have been? How would they have kind of spliced it in with the ending? Of course, I'd like to see that, but there's no guarantee that it makes it better or worse. We don't know. We don't know how it would affect the film. So you let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.